Alright guys, what's going on? It's Asthmatic here to talk one more time about The Division before we come to launch, which is now just a week away, which is insane to think about because the road to launch has been so long. We've been waiting for this game for so long, but then at the same time we've had the alpha and the closed beta and the open beta that now that it's here, it's sort of like, yeah, like I feel like I've been playing, really honestly, I've been playing The Division more than I've been playing any other game for the last 2 months. So a little bit of me feels like it's already here, which I think is a really good job on a really good play on Ubisoft's part, because they've really helped the community feel as though we are part of the tail end of the development cycle here, where we get to provide our input and experience this game and help make it better for everyone in the future. So thank you very much, Ubisoft, for that. But now, before the game comes out and we're talking about DLC and playing the game and all this kind of stuff, and YouTube is full of gameplay videos and all that, I wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about really why I love this game, because it's an aspect of the game that hasn't been highlighted very much, at least as far as I've seen. They've done a couple trailers, a couple official trailers in the last couple weeks that really brought some of these ideas to the surface, and I appreciated that, and I just wanted to take the time to highlight that. So for a little bit of background about me and why I love games, I'm all about a good story. I'm a lifelong, huge Halo fan of this guy right here, Mr. Master Chief, because, I'm all about a good story. And Halo, I'm a big fan of, mostly just because I love the stories that are told throughout that series. I'm a big fan of Master Chief, just his character, and I think that just, people in general, we have a lot that we can learn from that guy and from just what he stands for and what he's all about. And just Halo in general has so many amazing themes and stories being told through it that I think everyone should pay attention to. And it's a game that everyone, I think, should play just to experience that, completely separate from the fact that it's an amazingly built game series just as a game. So that being said, what I'm most excited for about The Division is that at its core, at its heart, The Division is a human story. If you look at something like a forest, like if a forest is burned down in a wildfire or something like that, it eventually will come back. Trees will grow back, grass will grow back, plants will return, and in time, animals will come back to live in that forest. And over the natural course of time, life returns and things come back. The same is not true of a city, especially a city like New York, because this is a city that is built upon systems, whether it's, we look at things like the electrical system of the city, everything that the people need in order to live in the city, all of the resources that are made available to them are made available to them by the work of other people. And in The Division, when we see a city like New York completely destroyed by disease and its people are being destroyed and wiped out, the city dies. And the city isn't the kind of thing that's going to come back on its own. It's not the kind of thing that is just going to, magically, oh, the water system just works now. It's been 6 months since the outbreak, and now everything's just back to normal, and people can come back and live here. The only way that a city is going to recover from an event like that is by the work of its people, and by the countless hours and the effort and the sacrifice that people have to put in order to bring the city back from such devastation and bring it back to a place where people can live and where people can have their lives. And that's really what The Division is all about, is it's highlighting those people who put their own personal lives aside and have to put their own desires and their own things they're doing aside so that they might work to bring the city back from the brink or even beyond the brink of destruction, so that one day people can come back and live here, and people can not have to live in fear of disease or not knowing whether or not they're going to turn on the faucet tomorrow morning and water's going to be there. They're going to plug into the outlet and there's actually going to be electricity available to them. That's what The Division is. And when I say The Division there, I don't mean the game. I mean the group of the group represented within the game, the faction of The Division people. That's their goal. That's what they're all about. And one thing throughout this whole development cycle that's really stood out to me is that they always use people's first names. It's not like, in typical military games, it's like, oh, like Sergeant whoever, or this guy whoever, and it's always surnames. But in The Division, like in the E3 trailer, it was like Megan and Bronson and Ryan was the other guy's name. Like, it feels very personal because it's a very human, personal story, because the city is where we live, and a city is something that's very personal into our everyday lives, and this is a story about people working to save that. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes and really highlight that fact, because The Division, along with every other game being a game, a lot of the focus gets put on the game elements of it. Like, oh, what do we think about these mechanics, and how cool is the PvP, and the graphics are so beautiful, and all that kind of stuff. And as much as I love talking about those things, and I will until I'm beyond blue in the face, I really wanted to take the opportunity to point out this as well, that the story of this game is really powerful and is really impactful. And for me, at least, and I know there's a lot of other people out there like me, who however good a game is completely, however good a game is mechanically, is completely separate from how well written it is, and how strong of a story the game tells, and how believable and how in tune we can be with its characters. So those are two totally separate things, and it seems like with games nowadays we focus a lot over here, we focus a lot on the mechanical side of things, and I wanted to highlight once again the story side of things, and remember that gaming is a storytelling device, and that as at every development studio, as much as there are artists and programmers, there are writers, and there are people who, develop cinematics, just as people in Hollywood develop movies, and there are people who write scripts for games, and voice actors who go into the studio and do the recordings, just in the same way that people do that for, animated TV shows, or the way that people go on set to record live action TV shows or movies. We have people who go and do our live action motion capture, which is more closely linked to the final product you see in a game today than it really ever has been before. So I just wanted to take a couple minutes and highlight that and say thank you so much to everyone at Ubisoft Ubisoft Massive, who has really taken the time to make this, to write and create a story that is so worth telling. To write and create and give to us this story set in such an amazing universe, in which, the depths of which we haven't experienced yet. Because so far we've experienced the technical side of things, and I'm really excited to get the full game in everyone's hands so that we can really dive into the story, and we can really become a part of the Division, and make this game our own, and make this game something that we can be proud and happy to play for years and years in the future. So thank you guys very much. This has been Asthmatic talking about story in the Division, and I'll be seeing you guys in a video tomorrow, and we'll be playing the Division this time next week. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.